Not all agents wear the same uniform. They are fundamentally specialized based on their domain of operation. You really have two main categories.
Okay.
You have the desktop integrated agent, which is local and focused on your internal file-based environment.
Yeah.
And then you have the cloud autonomous agent, which is designed for the open web and external data. They are specialized colleagues designed for very different jobs.
Let's start with that desktop native companion, Anthropic's Cowork. This isn't just another LLM in a browser window, is it? This sounds like a radical integration into the user's own operating system.
It is. Cowork is embedded right into the local machine environment. It moves the agent out of the browser and puts it onto your desktop. And that eliminates the massive friction of context switching.
You mean having to upload files, copy-paste outputs, constantly defining the agent's working environment?
All of that. It just operates seamlessly within the user's local file structure.
That level of deep local integration sounds, I have to say, fundamentally terrifying. What kind of capability does that unlock, and what is the immediate, non-negotiable security trade-off we have to accept here?
The capability is immense. It allows the agent to become a genuine doer, actually manipulating local resources. A prime example is file system management. If you grant it access to a local folder, Cowork can autonomously read, edit, rename, and move files. You could literally tell it, organize my downloads folder by creating subfolders for different file types and renaming documents based on their content.
They would just do it.
It uses multimodal analysis to understand if that PDF is a receipt, a contract, or a slide deck, and then it organizes accordingly.
That ability to process and act on local visual and document data is critical. I'm imagining a sales manager just drowning in receipts.
Right.
The agent could process a folder full of receipt screenshots, analyze the text and figures, and then generate a consolidated, perfectly formatted Excel expense report without ever leaving the local environment.
And that local integration enables a critical workflow advantage: asynchronous task queuing.
What's that?
Traditional AI interfaces are synchronous. You put in a prompt, you wait for the answer. Cowork allows you to queue up multiple distinct, complex, long-running tasks all at the same time.
So I could say, draft the Q3 report using these 5 local files, debug this Python script in my development environment, and summarize these 40 meeting notes from yesterday, all at once.
And then you move on to your next task while the agent factory runs in parallel in the background. This parallelism is absolutely essential for achieving the high-volume productivity gains that the agentic era is promising.
But let's circle back to that security concern. I'm still stuck on this. Integrating an autonomous AI directly into the operating system and giving it file modification rights feels like holding a live wire. How is that risk mitigated?
The guardrail is foundational. It's a permission-first sandbox architecture. Cowork cannot touch any file or folder unless you, the human user, have explicitly granted it granular access. That's a necessity for legal defensibility.
And there's a second layer.
Yes, the second layer is a strict human-in-the-loop, or HITL, safety protocol for any potentially destructive operations.
Like mass deletion or overwriting code libraries.
Precisely. If Cowork initiates a plan that involves deleting a large number of files or making substantial changes to executable code or overwriting critical configuration data, it acts as a proposer.
It proposes the action.
It pauses the workflow, sends an explicit notification to your dashboard with the proposed action. I intend to delete 350 files from the downloads folder. Approve or deny. And then it waits for your confirmation.
So it mitigates the classic sorcerer's apprentice risk, the danger that an agent just recursively executes a flawed but autonomous command with catastrophic results.
That's the idea. It puts a human brake on any potentially disastrous action.
And how do executives oversee the cost and the efficiency of this internal digital workforce? We talked about compute being the new currency.
IT administrators absolutely must rely on centralized dashboards. These provide granular spend control so you can allocate budgets to specific agent workflows and detailed usage analytics. The key metric they track is token consumption.
You have to explain this simply for the executive audience. What are tokens?
Tokens are essentially the money the agent spends per thought.
They're literally computational currency.
Right. And if your agents are running inefficiently, if they're thrashing, exploring irrelevant data, or generating overly verbose intermediate steps, your token consumption budget blows up. That leads to serious shadow costs.
So these dashboards ensure that the massive efficiency gains you get from using something like Cowork aren't just eroded by uncontrolled, wasteful API usage.
Exactly. You have to manage the agent's salary.
Okay, that's the internal, desktop-native, file manipulating specialist. Let's pivot to the second archetype, Manus, the autonomous web operator. If Cowork is focused on cleaning up your hard drive, Manus is focused on conquering external information and execution.
Manus is designed to be the general AI agent for the open web. It executes complex workflows out in the real world by simulating a human user, navigating websites using forms, clicking buttons, interacting with third-party web tools.
And its architecture is known as multi-model intelligence. Why does it need a hybrid brain? Why can't one model just do it all?
Because efficiency and cost matter a lot. Manus leverages a combination of specialized models like, say, Claude 3.5 for reasoning and Alibaba's Quinn for specific data extraction tasks. It selects the most efficient brain for any given subtask in real time.
So if it needs high-level strategic reasoning, it uses the expensive, powerful model.
Right, but if it just needs to parse a static web page, it uses the faster, cheaper model. This constant optimization is vital for managing those token budgets we just talked about.
This sounds like the true fire and forget model of automation for external research. Give us that mandated example to demonstrate its autonomy.
The standard task they use is this. Find the top 5 competitors in the AI governance space, analyze their public pricing pages, and put the resulting comparative data into a shared Google Sheet.
And Manus doesn't just return a list of links.
No, it autonomously manages the entire workflow. It uses search, it clicks the results, it handles dynamic web elements like cookie banners or pop-up forms, and it parses the HTML of the pricing tables.
And what about identity and credential management?
Yes. For deep research that requires logins like accessing premium industry reports or proprietary databases, Manus manages its own authentication using the user's stored credentials in a secure vault.
And its real resilience.
Its real resilience lies in its ability to self-correct. If it hits a broken link, a capped TCHA, or a website layout that's changed since its last visit, which are common failure points for traditional automation scripts, it doesn't just fail, it tries to debug the situation in real time.
It retries with different browsing strategies or tries to bypass obstacles, demonstrating true autonomy.
Exactly.
Given its high degree of autonomy, the transparency aspect becomes absolutely crucial. How does Manus maintain auditability for a supervisor?
They emphasize what they call a glass box approach, which is particularly important for organizations using their team plan with shared credit pools. Supervisors can audit the agent's progress in real time through the workspace feature.
And the crucial element here is the ability to view the agent's actual thought process.
Yes, its internal chain of reasoning. You can see the decision nodes it hit, the tools it called, and most importantly, why it decided to retry a task.
That is key. You aren't just trusting a black box result, you're auditing the logical integrity of the decision-making process.
Yeah.
That's how you build trust and know when to intervene if the logic is flawed.
Exactly. So, to summarize the tool showdown, the choice depends entirely on the domain of the job. Cowork is your local file system expert. It's for file manipulation, local code refactoring, asynchronous queuing, and it's managed via token budgets. Best use cases: clean up my local hard drive.
And Manus is your external specialist. It's for open web navigation, deep research, web automation, and it's optimized via multi-model intelligence. Best use case: research these 50 companies and synthesize their pricing data. The future is a hybrid firm, which means you're going to need both of these specialized archetypes.
No